Esports, a relatively new cultural phenomenon, esports have exploded in popularity, having gone from basically non-existent 20 years ago to international tournaments with multi-million-dollar prize pools and hundreds of millions of unique viewers today. In this video, we're going to take a look at what makes a game into an esport and what differentiates these from the rest of the video game world. Ludology is the study of games, and examines everything from traditional sports to board games and video games. More specifically, it studies them in terms of all of the things that makes them a game, which includes their mechanics, player interactions, rules, and goals. In video game studies, ludology is often contrasted to narratology, the study of storytelling in games, as it abstracts away any plot or attempt at story in the game and examines it purely in terms of player input and interaction. This abstraction makes ludology a useful tool in comparing and contrasting sports and esports, and will form the basis for most of our examination. So what is an esport? Michael Wagner, a professor and the current head of the digital media department at Drexel University in the United States, provided some helpful definitions in his 2006 paper on the scientific relevance of esports. The cliff notes of his definitions are that a sport involves people voluntarily comparing themselves to others in some cultural metric under a set of rules, and that for an esport these metrics are in the use of information and communication technologies. I'm going to expound upon this definition by examining some of the required components that are core to differentiating sports and esports from the rest of games in general. These components are as follows: discrete matches, head-to-head competitiveness, and a competitive structure. Let's start with discrete matches. This is the idea that the game can be played in self-contained chunks of some length. Each of these chunks encompasses the entirety of a match, and there is minimal or no interaction between chunks. Basically, every match starts with a clean slate, and no one is given a significant advantage or disadvantage because they won or lost the last match. This rules out most RPG and story-based games from being considered as esports, as their gameplay cannot normally be divided into discrete chunks. There's far too much influence from the previous games. In some cases, where multiple matches are played between the same players to determine a winner in a best of X format, the losing player may be given a minor advantage, such as the right to pick a map or other setup element. In these situations, while each match is mostly discrete, the discrete match is the series as a whole. The second element is head-to-head competitiveness. This is the idea that a match consists of two or more players competing against each other in the moment. The key aspect to this is that it is the player's actions in a particular instance that matter, not simply their best attempt or highest score. This removes leaderboard-based competitions from the realm of sports, both digital and traditional, as while they are highly competitive, the players are never evaluated on their performance at any given moment. This has nothing to do with the players competing in real time, however. Turn-based games can still provide this level of competition in the moment of the match. The last element is competitive structure. The competitive structure exists outside of the game itself. It is the organization and rules backing the player interactions. The structure could be a particular tournament, a local league for traditional sports, or the matchmaking or ladder system for an esport. The structure is essential as it provides the mechanism by which players and teams can be evaluated. You might be able to beat Tom, but if you lost to two others that Tom beat, who is the better player? The competitive structure gives some value to each of those matches and allows you to evaluate your relative worth to Tom. These three components are what allow us to differentiate between regular video games and esports. An esport must contain each of these three elements, as they describe the core aspects of the competitiveness that transforms it from game into sport.